Tonight we have a number of questions. Usually for every retreat that I've conducted in the past, I always give time for yogis to ask questions. Because sometimes we cannot able to cover everything. And certain needs of a yogi or certain aspect of the yogi's development, sometimes they need certain clarity, clearing the doubts. So we give them opportunity to ask these type of questions. Sometimes I have a lot of questions. Sometimes I have a few questions. Sometimes in the long retreat, like a 3 months retreat when I've conducted during the Vasa, every week we have a question and answer. Sometimes therefore we maybe have a 12 weeks of teaching, then 12 sessions of question and answer. And within these questions there are various types of aspect of the yogi's needs, So here are the few questions over here, not too many tonight. Now, first one is not a question, it's more of a request that the yogi want to request a copy of my draft, whatever I've written for the Dhamma talk, so that he can able to remember the points given when he goes back or when she goes back. Sorry to say, I don't have any draft over here because whatever comes out in my mind, I talk. There's no paper in front of me. Yesterday, there's only one paper and only the 10 things only. From number 1, from the light, and the last one is craving. Between inside there, there's no other thing. So, what I'll do tomorrow is that in every finish when the talks, finish the retreat, I'll give you all the copy of a CD or a thumb drive if you have. Then all the talks from day 1 until tonight, I will be able to pass you all tomorrow. So usually I'll give it you all, then you can take it back. If those who are unable to get it, we can still able to download from my website. So whatever the talks that I've done for all the retreats, I upload it to my website. So anytime you want to download it, by all means. Okay, let's. The first one gone. Okay, now the first questions. First of the few questions. How to stop or minimize memories or thoughts? How much to minimize? 50% in order to have a good meditation? We still note or label with memories and thoughts in the background. Is this okay? We talk about that. Now, how do you minimize all these memories and thoughts? I know as you come to a retreat, when the less thinking, it will be better. But the thing is that the mind loves to think, conditioned to think. So it's not easy just for you to want it just to minimize everything. The thoughts, especially memories. Now, first of all, I'd like to remind you that these memories especially from the past, you cannot erase them. They are part of the psyche of the mind, this whole mind, memories. So you cannot erase them. And as I repeat again on the restless mind, as I said, that these memories, these thoughts, you cannot erase them. But you can able to change how you relate to the thoughts. The change is in the relation with the thoughts, not the memory. Yeah? Yeah. Say, when you are not meditating, or you have never been a meditator, or you do not know about the Dhamma, yeah? And then every time this type of sadness, type of memory arises, you will cry and cry and cry. Say, for example, somebody passed away. Your loved one passed away, parents passed away, spouses passed away, children or whatever that passed away, parents passed away. But whichever that passed away, it gives you that sadness. And that sadness, how the normally people relate to it is just that when they relate to it, is always sadness, lamentation, crying, tears all coming out, rolling down every time you think about it. So with that type of thoughts, a lot of times, if they cannot able to control that, they may go into depression, they may go into a very deep, sad type of grief, and also sometimes loss of hope, hopeless, and they mentally become hopeless, directionless, when these things happen. So, this is normally how people relate to these thoughts, the lamentation, the sadness. Yeah. So as a meditator, as you cultivate the wholesome mental states, now as you cultivate it stronger, better, clearer, more continuous, then next time when this type of memories arises, this sad type of memory arises from the past, and then this time, because of the mindfulness, because of a clarity, the mindfulness will begin to take over the sadness. The understanding, the wisdom will take over the sadness. And therefore, the memory about the memory will still be there, still as clear. But this time, there's no more sadness. This time, that's where mindfulness or wisdom or compassion or whatever that comes and take over the mind instead of the sadness. So when you are free from that, you are free from that dukkha, at least the sadness part of type of dukkha. And next time, every time it arises, that type of dukkha doesn't affect you anymore. So there is a big change in our life. This can be done with vipassana. We've seen many people, although they do not know how the process takes place, but somehow or another, these type of things, they don't feel so impactful anymore, especially the sadness or jealousy or the greed. Not so impactful on the mind anymore. Not so worried, less worried, less problem, less congestion, less entanglement inside there. Because now the mind knows how to relate to all these things much more better than before. Therefore, the everyday type of suffering becomes less. Therefore, happiness comes in. The type of happiness that comes in, which you are free from that suffering. So we change it by development of the mind. Cultivate the mindfulness and cultivate the mindfulness. Therefore, when we can able to overcome them, all the sadness, then we get much better. But a lot of times, if we do not know how to do this way, a lot of times, if you are not properly instructed, you will tend to suppress the memory rather than changing how you relate to the thoughts. Because you do not want to see the memory. You don't want to get the memory to come in all over again. Because you always think that the memory is the one who is giving you so much problem. So it's not about the memory. We cannot change the memory. The memory is just from the past. But what we can change is in the present. And that present is how the mind relates to it. So when you can able to relate in this way, you can able to know these things in this way, then the mindfulness, when the mindfulness becomes able to take over the mind in many ways, therefore when you come into a retreat, when you come into meditation, this type of thoughts becomes not strong. It doesn't affect, it becomes it doesn't become a prominent object anymore. Yeah, it's just another memory just passing through, another type of passing through type of memory. You see it again and again, it doesn't affect you anymore. So, in a way, it becomes so much better for you to be able to meditate. But if you want to minimize your thinking in the retreat, one of the most important thing is to remember is to have continuous mindfulness. If you don't have much of a continuous mindfulness, and your mind is just let it grow wild into thinking and to seeing and so on, you don't kind of like rein it in, and you're going to like pull it in, you pull it back. If you don't make the effort to pull it back, then of course there will be a lot of random thoughts here and there. There will be a lot of chattering, there will be a lot of commenting of everything that you are doing. So sooner or later when you comment in this way, it gets bored. Mentally you get bored. When you get bored already, then you find that this meditation, nothing much, walking, nothing much, sitting, nothing much, and then you feel, then your confidence later also becomes shaky. So you need that persistent mindfulness. You need to bring it awareness to the present moment again and again. A lot of times we don't do that. We let the mind just run here and there, here and there. And then when it runs here and there, it carries over to your sitting. It carries over to your walking. And then every time you walk, there's always like chattering at the back there. There's chattering, talking at the back there. It doesn't, sometimes you want to pay attention, you still could able to notice what you're going on, but somehow the chattering is just behind that. It shows that a lot of times the yogi is not so mindful in other things. So by the time you're aware of it in your sitting, in your walking, that all this chattering, that means before that particular sitting, that particular walking, you're not mindful somewhere along their daily activities or other things. If you're more mindful, they'll become less. Another thing of this too much thinking and too much memories or whatsoever, or planning and so on. One of the things is that sometimes yogis are making too much effort, too strong, too aggressive in the meditation. Aggressive here is like, that they are very, although their determination is very good, but they just overboil the whole thing, overcook your meditation. Overcook here means that every little thing it says must have continuous mindfulness, and then you go on another extreme. Every little single thing you want to every walking, every sitting, everything, every small little thing you want to be mindful. Then when you do in this way, then it turns into too much effort, then it goes into thinking again. Don't do also wrong, do also wrong. How? That's the nature of the whole practice. It's about balancing right now. Yeah? You must know when to exercise it. That day I gave you the pointers that during about last week. I told you, as a yogi, there's only two modes that you're going to go. One is a mindful mode, or one is the precision mode. Less than that, you're going to go out of the whole meditation. If you're not precise, if you just keep yourself mindful, aware what is going on, all right, because the mind is still in the present, knowing what you're doing, You want to take a cup, perhaps you're not so precise in taking a cup. You know that your hand is reaching out and taking up and so on, yeah? You are more of a general mindfulness at this moment of time. Okay, if you're able to do that, well and good. Yeah? But at certain times when your body is relaxed, you want to notice a little bit more precise in this one. Then you notice the intention, the movement, intention, movement, or the pressure, the hardness, the softness, the warmness. You become more precise in the noticing of that taking of the cup. So within these two modes, a yogi moves from this mode or that mode, this mode or that mode. In your daily activities, in your walking or in your sitting. So within these two, you got to stay within these two. When you're out of these two, then your mind goes into a lot of thinking, sloth and torpor, hindrances will come in. So you got to learn to make the effort. Sometimes, again, that day I also give you the talk that when you do your walking, it's about gradually you slow down. Not sekali you want to slow down, not very quickly you want to slow down. Not like that. Gradually you become more precise. Let the walking starts first, for example. Let the walking starts first, a right step, left step. Take your time first. Relax the body, keep your mindfulness there, present. And then as the mind gets more calmer, then it goes into a more detailed noticing. If your mind is not calm, if your body is not relaxed, and then you want to do the 3-phase or 4-phase or 5-phase or whatever phase that you want to do, very precise, then it becomes very tense up, very cramped. And then you don't care, you thought that you want to progress, and you keep doing and doing and doing. At the end of the walking, or perhaps the next walking, perhaps the next day, you end up with a lot of tension. So when you do that, after that, how come there's so much tension? You feel that something is wrong. But you do not know where to pinpoint that is wrong. So you must learn to gradually slow down, for example. Then when your body is relaxed, your mind is relaxed, your mind is clear, then the thinking also minimize. Minimize but doesn't mean zero, Minimize doesn't mean zero, because it will still come in here and there. You will know that sometimes when you are doing walking or sitting, sometimes there's floating thoughts passing through. You're rising and falling here at the back, chit-chatting a bit, what I'm doing, talking, at the back there. And yet you can able to notice what is really going on. Rising, falling, or lifting, pushing, dropping. You're still able to know what is going on. At that moment of time, if you can notice the movements or rising and falling, and also together with the chattering a little bit at the background, if that happens, you learn to accept them as they are. You learn to accept them as they are. Don't want to stop the thinking. If you purposely make the strong effort just to stop that little chattering of the mind, then you will end up with a lot of problem. Learn to walk with it. Learn to accept with it. Because if you learn to accept with it, you don't fight it. You don't fight it, you don't suppress it, then by itself you kind of fade away. Sometimes it takes longer. You just keep on noticing. Right step, left step, or lifting, pushing, dropping. You notice some sensation at the back, there's a chattering. You learn to accept it also. You just carry on. Just carry on noting. Because if you carry on paying attention to what is going on, the chattering will kind of slowly goes off. But a lot of times, we don't want this way. We want perfect noting, sui everything, doesn't come and kacau me or anything at all. If you want those things, that is your problem already. And if that attitude that you're going to have, the more chattering you want, because now you're fueling, you're putting a lot of fuel into the thinking, into the chattering thoughts, and then there's a dislike there. When the dislike there, the dislike, and this is another hindrance, you're trying to fuel that chattering of the mind. That day, as I said, the acceptance part on the hindrance. The acceptance part, you cannot able to accept it. You want your noting to be perfect. But it's not perfect. It's about acceptance of the whole nature during this time. So you learn to accept for now. Just by wearing these two, sometimes it becomes quite interesting, because you can begin to see that even this chattering and this motion, they are somewhat related. They're somewhat related. Then we begin to see how the chattering and the movement was coming together as part of the whole noting. And then that time, the whole chattering becomes contained. It doesn't go into a lot of restless mind. It just chatter a little bit here, lifting, pushing, dropping here. Both also you can able to notice it. So it's part of the whole process. Yeah. So we learn to accept these things. Don't try to suppress everything and just make the noting becomes perfect. It will be perfect at certain point of time. It will be there's no chattering at certain point of time, and then the lifting, pushing, dropping, or rising, falling sensation and so on becomes somewhat very clear. Well and good, yes, but not every time. Not every time you face these things. So you don't expect it to be perfect all the time. You learn to deal with the imperfection. You learn to deal with the commentary, the thoughts, the memory, the chattering in the background there. So you just keep on paying attention. Sometimes, too bad. I also was in the past. In the past also, when I was meditating in the early days, I thought that must have zero thinking. Zero. No, all this disturbance coming in. After that, when I do that, all the headache come. How or what happened? But over the years, we begin to find out all these problems, because of non-acceptance. So once you're able to accept it, then it's just at the background. It doesn't really disturb you. So it's all about your attitude. It's all about your attitude and mental attitude, how you pay attention to these type of objects. So a lot of acceptance, non-judgmental towards all these things when it arises. So this is one question. Now the next question is a bit vague. Perhaps I need you to clarify a little bit, whoever asked this question. Is pain, inverted comma, still the same in good mindfulness? Is pain, two words of pain in inverted comma, open and close inverted comma, they're still the same in good mindfulness? Apa you ask? What do you want? Anybody, you want to clarify? Yes. In mindfulness, can you still feel pain? Yes or no? You answer me now. Yes? Sure or not? Of course. You go through all these type of things every day. Pain, morning pain, afternoon pain, sleep also pain, makan also pain. Yes, of course. You see, mindfulness, when you have a string of, even a very clear mindfulness, a very strong continuous mindfulness. When you have strong continuous mindfulness, you must not think that pain is a problem. The problem is not the pain. The problem is how we always relate with the pain. Now sometimes yogis have their own idea or their thought. Or some of their good old friend Whatever is it that they sit down in a cafe there, hey, y'all don't worry, next time y'all meditate already, later on, no pain already, all very nice and cool already. Then you thought that, wow, must be good mindfulness, then no more pain. Yeah. That's a lot of people think. I was thinking that too, I was thinking that after 3 or 4 retreats, wow, so much pain. Next retreat, sure no pain already. Because finish the karma already. Maybe go up to the higher insight or develop better already. No more pain. Wow. Then the next retreat come back, even more crucial. I don't want to scare you, But the thing is that it's not the pain. Again, here is our relationship, our mind towards the pain again. Now, put it this way, as long as you have this body, you will have pain. You cannot run away from it. Even the Buddha have the pain. Even Arahants have the pain. No matter how much they have meditated, if a lifetime, they still have pain. Physical pain. You cannot run away from this truth. If you can run away from this truth, then maybe no more here already. So we cannot run away from this truth, the bodily pain, unless you don't have a body like a higher devas and so on. You don't have a body, so no pain. So while we are human here, there will still be pain. So here is about how you relate to the pain again. Again, just like memories, just like the thoughts that I'm talking earlier on. If you are not a meditator, if you are first time meditating, you come here, learn about Friday meditation class, Monday meditation class, and they ask you to sit, half an hour pun tak boleh. 20 minutes you want your buttock is going to come out already from your backside. Your leg is going to break already. Your cramp and your tightness is so strong. It says, how am I going to pass all these things? You look at other people, they can sit calmly. You think that they got no pain. Must have good mindfulness, So it's not like that. You're not going to be like that. This is a lot of all our wrong thinking, our wrong understanding about unpleasant feelings of this body. Now this pain, in the beginning of the practice, if you begin to practice, or your beginning here also meaning that you haven't developed into a deeper insight. In fact, the first 2 insight, Nama Rupa Paricheda Jnana, the first insight of distinguishing between Nama and Rupa, mind and body, or mind and mentality and mentality and physicality, or materiality. Anyway, and at this stage, at the beginning stage, there's a lot of pain. There's a lot of pain, and therefore pain is part of the whole thing. But when you say pain, I can't say for everybody. Maybe 90% yes. Maybe that 10%, I don't know what good karma they have done in the past, they don't feel so impactful of the pain. There are people like that, yes. But they also can able to progress, not that they say they cannot progress. The second insight also, there's also a lot of pain. The third insight also, there's a lot of pain. So pain is part of the whole game, whole process of development. So, in the beginning process of meditating, you find that you have very difficult just to pay attention to the pain. Very difficult. You note it for a short while, your mind is totally disenchanted with it, you dislike it, anger come up, you want to get out, you want to move, you want to change your feet, and so on. Yes, we understand that. This is in the beginning practice. But if you come to a retreat, you try walking, try sitting, try walking, try sitting over the days, as the mindfulness becomes stronger, more clearer, things become more continuous, then when it comes with the pain, then you'll find that you can able to sit, and then the sitting time can go a bit more longer than half an hour, maybe 40 minutes, 45 minutes. The pain is still there, but your mind can able to withstand on the pain and able to notice what is the pain is like. But because the effort is not so strong yet, the development hasn't come to a good development yet, then you can't stand the pain. After that, your mindfulness becomes to wobble or become to shake, and then your mindfulness disappears, then the anger comes in. But at least before it happens, there's a period of time, a longer period of time that you can able to notice the pain compared to before. So it is good in that way. This is how we build up. Then through the walking and sitting, walking and sitting, walking and sitting, again and again, then the time towards dealing with the pain gets longer and longer and longer. Up to the whole hour you can sit. And or more than that, you could able to do that in later part of the development. So the pain here will be there in your practice, but how your mindfulness becomes stronger, that it will be, that thing will help you to withstand the pain. And yet at the same time, you can see the changes of what is really happening. So right now, for example, when you meditate, you feel a lot of pain right now. You may think that, how I'm going to practice in the future with this so much pain. Every time retreat come, see like that. How am I going to practice? All pain here, pain there. Well, this is what we think. We try to thought in the future that our mind is still the same. We thought that our progress is, if you thought thinking of progress is non-developing, then yes, it will be the same. You cannot deal with it. But if you progress, if you develop properly, if you progress, next time when the pain comes in, you can deal with it for a longer period of time. Okay? So it's not about the pain. It's about your development of your mind. The development of that mindfulness, the clarity, the concentration. Therefore, you can withstand the pain much more better. So next time, don't equate a good sitting with no pain, Sometimes you come to me, today I have a good sitting. Why good sitting? Today not so much pain. This is the first thing you're wrong. This one, if you speak a little bit more, I take out my knife already. Just like that already. Wait now, you finish there. Verbally. Like that, you're wrong. You begin to equate a good sitting without pain. That is not right. A good sitting is always about how clear, how alert your mind throughout that whole sitting. A good walking is not whether you got wobble or no wobble. Whether you shake here a bit, shake there a bit. It's not about that. It's about how clear on the mind throughout the whole walking. Some people are more interested in the body doesn't shake. Let's say walking, very nice, like a model like that. Then they walk very nice, but inside there, nothing much. I'm not so interested in all these things. Then you tell me when you're sitting, you're not pain, very good sitting. This is all your interpretation. And that interpretation of the sitting is actually out. It's only based on craving only. You like no pain. You prefer no pain. That preference is where your craving is. So the pain is not an indicator of how... The pain is not the indicator whether there's a good sitting or not a good sitting. So you don't judge a sitting by how much pain you have or no pain you have. Some people, they're more like they like a lot of pain. Don't know why. But because they have a thinking, more pain better. sour, a little bit. It's not right again, It's not more pain better. But sometimes in a sitting, a lot of pain may come in, yes. But you don't go and equate it more pain or better sitting, more chili better. It's not going to be like that. Again, I have to remind you, it's about the quality of your noting, how clear you are in the sitting. Even if your whole sitting is full of pain, the moment you touch down, your buttock touch down and everything ready, pain start by that first minute until the bell rings at 1 hour. If the whole hour pain, you can note this, note that, note this, note that, note this, note that. Then it's wonderful. Yeah, wonderful. If you don't have pain, let's say, if you sit down already, no pain, but rising, falling, sitting, touching, hearing, smelling, or whatever sensation comes in, that is a good sitting. That is a wonderful sitting. But if you think that I just whole hour I sitting, only the rising, falling only, rising, falling only, rising, falling, sui, the rising, nice and pleasant. Like that, not to say bad sitting, but mediocre type of sitting on here. Even you have the whole hour able to do it, because you cannot able to see more than that. You cannot able to penetrate more than that. It's just rise and fall, sit down, rise and fall, rise and fall. Whole hour you get up. What do you notice? Just rise and fall. Peaceful, very peaceful, very nice. Then that one is just mediocre. Some mindfulness is there, but precision of noticing is not there. So when there's no precision of noting, then it's not a really good sitting in terms of vipassana meditation. In terms of wholesomeness, yes, it's still wholesome, because your mind doesn't run well and good. So, as a meditator, is a good sitting or a good walking is all about how clear your mind onto the object, how precise, what is really happening to the noticing of any object that arises, any prominent object that arises at that particular time. So then don't judge too much of your sitting or walking. A lot of times we wrongly judge. We wrongly judge because it's all based upon our craving, and that based on our craving, then therefore the opinions and the thinking, the judgment all coming in. And we don't realize that this judgment is based upon unwholesome mental state. Okay? So don't think of it as pain, not good mindfulness, not good practice. It's not like that. Now, what is the next question? What is the difference between noting and labeling? What is the difference between noting and labeling? Now here, I did mention in the first week, about noting, labeling, and so on. We could spend a whole hour talking about these things. But in the last week talk, I mentioned here and there about labeling, about noting, and what is it all about, When we say a noting mind, the mind that pays attention to an object, all right? Inside this mind is a component of many other minds that is involved in paying attention. Not just only mindfulness. It's a combination of different mental factors. Okay? Now, for example, I give you a few examples. While you're noting an object, say arising and falling, a simple object, within this noting mind, there's mindfulness, effort, concentration, all right? Vitaka vichara inside there. Penetrative type of wisdom inside there. But this one is optional. If you know how to exercise it, it comes. If it doesn't know how to exercise it, it doesn't come. But if you know how to exercise it, then it comes together with the whole thing. Then there are a number of things. What happened inside here is that each and every of these mental factors, it do its function. It's doing function at that moment of time onto the object. Okay? What are the functions? Let's see. Just give you a few things. Say, for example, mindfulness. The nature of mindfulness is that it goes face to face with the object. Face to face with the object means that it brings the whole mind, whole noting mind, go near to an object. That is the function of mindfulness. And it covers the object in that sense. Its function is to do that. And with that also, when it stabilizes with it, it stabilizes with it onto that object, when it stays with it, then other mental factors starts doing their function also. For example, concentration, samadhi, or you want to put it as ekagata or whatever. They are all synonymous. What is this concentration or samadhi is doing is that it holds all these mental factors together, all these other mental factors together, so that all of them can able to work on that particular object. Its job is to hold them together. All right? Now, the effort, for example, it makes all these other mental factors to be vibrant, to be active. If not, you'll be very dull. All these factors have no fire to able to note an object. No fire, no clarity to able to note an object. And then the wisdom factor, the penetrative factor, then this penetrative factor, it begins to distinguish that particular object. That particular object is hard, or that particular object is soft. The mind able to notice its characteristic. That is the function of a wisdom factor that we have mentioned last week in so many ways, how to exercise these things. So when it happens, so many other things, of course there are many other factors are still happening. This one is called the noting mind. All right? It calls the noting mind, and we have to keep to set up this noting mind continuously, as best as we can. Continuously, so that it can able to begin to distinguish, discern what is going on with the object. So all the other factors are playing their role here, just by paying attention to a noting mind. So normally we call it a noting mind is that. It's about that. So this is one thing. Noting mind, you need to exercise it, and you need to cultivate it as much as possible. The labeling mind. Now the labeling mind is a conceptual mind. It is a tool to help the noting mind to direct to the object. It is more like function like a vitaka, You know, sometimes you learn about vitaka, vichara and all that thing. Labeling is like vitaka. And in fact, that is like vitaka is a function like vitaka. In order, it pulls that noting mind to the object. It kind of like a laser pointer, You point to that particular thing, the mind goes there. You look there, for example, So too, the labeling mind is a mind construct, is a concept. So we use it as a tool, especially in the beginning of a practice, so that it helps a person who is new into the practice, so that this direction of that noting mind can go to that rising and falling, for example. Go to the lifting, pushing, dropping. It can able to direct it. So that's why we need to use the labeling in the beginning part of the practice, because it helps you to direct the mind faster. If we don't tell you to use the labeling mind, we ask you, just walk lah, just sit lah. You cannot able to know the feeling, the sensation that's going to come up, because the mind doesn't know how to guide itself into that particular object. Because there are places in nowadays, and they thought that, this labeling mind is conceptual. We must not go and deal with this conceptual mind. We must not deal with it. We put it all aside. Satipatthana is all about noting the reality only. So in the beginning, all this conceptual mind is no good. It's going to disturb all your meditation. Theoretically it sounds very nice. Theoretically it sounds very good. Yeah, yes, we're going to do that. But practically it doesn't happen. Practically, it's going to be difficult for many yogis to able to see things more further. Unless you have been practicing in your past before, whatever karma that you bring over from your past life. Other than that, we do not know. So we need to use the labeling. In fact, the Buddha also used the labeling, when he's teaching, it's an in-breath, it's an in-breath. It's an out-breath, it's an out-breath. This is a long breath, it's a long breath. It's a short breath, it's a short breath. All these are labeling in the beginning process. All right? So we need the labeling in the beginning of the practice. Yeah? And also the labeling, because it's a form of a vitakka, a form of an effort, it arouses effort also, then we use it during the sleepiness also. When your mind is drowsy, when the mind is not, we use that thing to arouse the mind. So labeling is helpful. But as the course of practice, as you develop the practice, as your mindfulness become more clearer, sharper, and so on, and then you can notice sensations, rising, falling, changes a bit more faster, or the sensation of lifting, pushing, dropping more faster, more clearer. Then that time, at certain time, we have to drop the labeling. We have to give up on the labeling. But we must not give up on noting. The noting has to be from the day that you start meditating until Nibbana. Noting must be there. Noting is the essential. Labeling is optional. Labeling is a conceptual mind. People are so interested in the labeling. This rising or is this falling? Is it round or is it going sideways? They are more interested with all the names, and those things are not so important actually. What is important is the function that it brings to you towards it. So this labeling, now this labeling, they are helpful. They are very helpful. But this is not a must in every development until the end. Sometimes the labeling can be a hindrance if you do not drop it. It becomes a hindrance. Because the object changing more faster than what you can able to label. So that time you got to drop the labeling. You drop the labeling, fully able to note the object with the noticing mind, with the noting mind. Fully able to pay attention to what is really going on inside there. So that time you got to drop the labeling. So when you drop the labeling, you see even more clearer. But if you just one or two practice, one or two retreat, you think that you are smart enough, you want to go and drop, then you drop that labeling, you see what else will fill up the mind? The thinking will fill up the mind. Because the object is not so clear yet in the beginning part. So these two things we must learn to separate them, to get to separate them, because this is important for us to know. Labeling process, of course, these are conceptual. You can use English ka, Mandarin ka, whatever language you are free to use. Doesn't matter. The most important thing, you feel comfortable with that particular word. So it's perfectly all right. But labeling is universal. The noting is universal in the sense that you know to pay attention the characteristic in such and such a way. You don't have to keep on labeling or commenting or trying to conceptualize what is going on. All you need to do is just pay attention. So we need that noting mind to be continuous. But a lot of times we note a little bit, we want to put a lot of commentary into it. Not a little bit commenting into it. A lot of commenting into, this rising and falling is moving like a snake like that. And then this snake is going to the hole, up again, down again. More interested in the snake, not the rising and falling. There are people like that. So pay attention to the object of what is really going on. That is what we call the noting mind. So, noting, again here, noting mind is to make it continuous as best as possible. Labeling mind, you need to use it in the beginning of your practice. Even if you are a seasoned yogi also, first few days you come into a meditation retreat, bring in the labeling. It's so much more easier to start. When you bring in the labeling and all the mindfulness comes in and become clear again, that time the object starts moving, become more faster, clearer, then we drop the labeling. Okay, we drop the labeling. That time we can go faster. And certain times, if your mind is not so clear again, then you can always bring back the labeling. The labeling is just a tool to help the mind, to help the noting mind to gain some direction, arouse some effort. Then it'll be very helpful. There are people who thought that once you drop the labeling mind, I'm not going to play with labeling. Labeling is like playing kindergarten, primary one. Now I'm in Form 1, Form 2, or higher form. Don't play with all these things anymore. That's not like that. So you still need to use it. Okay, this on labeling. Please explain on contemplation of Dhamma Vicaya, investigation of Dhamma in the 7 factors of enlightenment. This is question number 1. Please explain the contemplation of Dhamma Vicaya, investigation of Dhamma in the 7 factors of enlightenment. Now, in the 7 factors of enlightenment, you know what's the 7 factors of enlightenment? What's the first one? Sati then? Second one, the first one is mindfulness or sati. Second one, investigation of Dhamma, Dhamma Vicaya. Third one, effort. Fourth one, piti. Piti is what is piti? Joy. Okay, fifth one, pasadi. Pasadi, what is pasadi? Tranquillity. Yesterday we talked about it. Sixth one. What? Not yet equanimity. Concentration, samadhi. And the 7th one is equanimity. Yesterday, how many things I have talked? Yesterday I talked about equanimity. Although there are 10 imperfections, some of it are inside there. Joy also is inside there. Mindfulness also inside there. Knowledge also is inside there. Pasadi also is inside there. Effort also is inside there. Everything also yesterday also connected to yesterday also. Imperfection of insight also. It's a matter of how you relate to it. But here in the 7 factors of enlightenment, the whole meaning of 7 factors of enlightenment is that noting mind. Noting mind is equivalent to the 7 factors of enlightenment. You want to develop 7 factors of enlightenment? Pay attention to your object. Finish. That's how is 7 factors of enlightenment is happening while you are actually doing. This is not just, you see, the 7 factors of enlightenment, the knowledge here, although it's wonderful to understand, but how are you going to bring that into a meditation to your development? This is actually the noting mind. The mind that pays attention. Because just now, as I said, everything else there is all inside there. Here, mindfulness is mindfulness. Dhamma Vicaya here is none other than the word wisdom. None other word is clear comprehension. That last week, I talked so much about it. I talked so much about it. I talked about intention, how you use the intention to arouse that part of clear comprehension. That means you arouse the you arouse the wisdom factor, how you arouse this investigation of Dhamma. They're all the same. There's just a different words only I'm using. So, investigation of Dhamma is synonymous with same meaning with this with this thing when you are in a vipassana meditation. Same meaning with the wisdom factor. So I have mentioned about that many ways, and when I said that how you can able to differentiate this and that, you begin to see the characteristic, you begin to understand its condition, how it arises, then those things becomes part of the whole understanding of Dhamma Vicaya. Say, for example, you want to be precise. You want to note things more precisely, more clearly, in a balanced, right manner. Yes, I tell you that day, or just now I have mentioned, you need to gradually slow down. So the gradually slow down is a condition for that Dhamma Vicaya to arise in a balanced manner. You know their intention, for example. You make an effort to note their intention. When you note this intention, you see an effect that comes up later, a short while later. That too, when you notice these things, you begin to notice, you exercise the Dhamma Vicaya. And that is how you arouse it. When you begin to able to differentiate, okay, this one is the right object, this is not the right object, I should not take up. Then, because you're able to discern these two, this is called the mind able to discern, the mind can able to investigate the Dhamma. And the Dhamma here is the mind and bodily objects. Not your books, not just only your books, If you are doing a sutta class, sutta study, like let's say right now, then that investigation of Dhamma may be what you read and what you think. But when you are doing a meditation, you're doing a vipassana meditation, the investigation of Dhamma is the noting mind. It's part of the whole noting mind. So they go along a different level. Okay? They go along a different level. So the investigation, the mind, the wisdom factor that you do, you're precise, you take notice, precision with, all the movement, investigation, this is right, this is wholesome, this is unwholesome, this is better, this is not so good. Then you're able to discern so many other things. This is hardness, this is softness, this is warmness, this is rising, this is falling, this is moving, this is this way. All these things is exercising this investigation of Dhamma. So the mind investigates into the characteristics of this mind and body. When you see the characteristics, you see a deeper characteristic of arising, sustaining, passing away. And when you see those things, you see deeper aspect of arising, passing away, moment after moment. All these are investigation of Dhamma. And the development of Vipassana is finally development of this wisdom. Because this wisdom is where you're able to see a lot of other things happening. Number 2, when a yogi should do arising and passing away of phenomena. When should a yogi do arising and passing away of phenomena? This question is not the right way to phrase the question in this way. Because you don't purposely do arising and passing away of phenomena. You're not going to purposely sit down there, arising, passing away, arising, passing away, arising, passing away, arising, passing away, moving here, arising, passing away, arising, passing away. You don't do like that. You don't do like. Last week I've mentioned there's one monk I've met in the past. He sit down there. He want to pay. He want to bow down. He want to. Then he's arising and passing away, arising and passing away, arising and passing away, arising. That is not the way. That's not the way. We don't go and purposely go and do that thing. Arising and passing away. Here what it means that arising and passing away moment after moment. Moment after moment means that within a second there is a few phenomena arise and passes away already gone. So within an hour, 3,600 seconds that you may have, there's thousands of things you have passed through. Sometimes yogi cannot remember what they notice also. So it's perfectly all right. Some yogis thought that they're having dementia already. How come I meditate after just now I don't remember? Something wrong with me, Bhante. Nothing wrong with you, It's just too many things. Your memory is not working over here. Don't worry about that. What is important here, the arising and passing away, moment after moment, is the mind that when it comes to a certain level of development, a deeper level of development, the objects changes so much more faster than what you think is just rise and fall of your abdomen. There's so many things inside there. So many things, how it changes, arise, passing away in a very fluid manner. That time, the continuity of mindfulness, it goes on its own, as if got its life of its own. Not that, now also no continue mindfulness. Then I'm sitting down there, gone again. Try again, God. After that, gone. This time, no. This time, the continuity of mindfulness is like, you're putting a lot of oil into it already, then it just keep going. And then every time you can able to see the changes arise, pass away, arise, pass away. So during this time, you noting the arising and passing away, you contemplate on it in that way. So you don't purposely just come for one retreat only. If the object doesn't show you like that, you don't go and contemplate it in that way. You don't go and contemplate it in that way. You don't go and pay attention into that way. So this is not how you pay attention. So when it arises, only when the object becomes very clear, very fast, changing and all that thing, that time is what we call the arising and passing away. So that time you note it such. That time, also it doesn't matter whether this is mind or this is matter anymore. Because there's no, you do not discern whether this is mind or matter anymore. Everything is just arising and passing away. Everything, every phenomena, they have the universal characteristics of anicca, dukkha, anatta. And anicca, dukkha, anatta, the real anicca, dukkha, anatta, as I mentioned this week I think, then it's all there. Arising and passing away, depending on how you pay attention to it, it shows you at one time anicca. Other times it shows you dukkha. Another time it shows you anatta. Another time it shows you dukkha again. Another time it shows you anatta. Another time it shows you dukkha, anicca again. So all these things, all this anicca, dukkha, anatta, is all within this arising and passing away. So you don't worry about arising and passing. It will come. It will come to you. You don't purposely go and look for it. It will naturally unfold itself to you. All the truth, it will slowly reveal itself to you. Now, these last two questions is on about what to do as we go back. We see how much we can able to talk about it, and tomorrow we can talk a little bit more. So this question is, Bhante, how or what do you propose we do to maintain our mindfulness in everyday situation? The next question is this. So you want to know how to maintain a mindfulness in everyday situation. So the next one is, as a layperson undergoing tremendous pressure and stress, immediate need and short-term objective to practice meditation is to find peace in mind and a balance for mental well-being and mental health, while a long-term objective is for enlightenment. What is your advice for us to have peace in mind when practicing in daily life? So here, he wants to go through all, your life is full of pressure, stress and so on. And then short-term practice, you want to have some degree of peace and calmness. Good. Balance of mental well-being. And then the long-term is for the enlightenment. So what to do? What is your advice? So let's combine these two things together. So how are you going to maintain an everyday mindfulness? How are you going to practice certain degree of calm and this one in our everyday life? How are we going to do that? The first thought was coming in this thing. Be a monk or be a nun. And then you, of course, when you avoid all these things, kind of like naturally it comes less for you, isn't it? But you all don't want. You all want to be kai la, good food la, everything else la, you know. You want to go here, go there. And then you expect you want to have a free and peaceful life. Yeah. Kind of like ironic, isn't it? you want something, you want everything. You want everything else. Not that all monks have peaceful life, but at least we monks or nuns, we don't go and work and all go and stress with all kinds of work and all kinds of family matters and so on, you know. But we still have our own stress. But the stress that we have compared to the stress that we had previously in our life is so much more different. The type of stress that we have, meditate cannot la, how to walk la, how to sit la, how to do this and that, that type of stress la, you know, that what you're going through. But when you go out there, that type of life, your stress is all kind of work and so on, isn't it? So you're asking me to have a peace and this one. So yeah, be a monk, be a nun la. So if you don't want, that's, I mean, you couldn't expect stress and tension and everything about your life. You're going to have those things. You're not going to run away. You cannot run away from these things, right? So if you don't want to be a monk or nun, what can we do? You're more interested in that. But let me tell you is that you are not going to expect everything is going to be nice and cozy and pleasant and so on. You're going to have some stress in your life. One of the few things that come into mind that you want to have some degree of peace, mindfulness and so on. Then the first thing, you must see who you mix with. The people that you are connected to. When the people that are connected to, let's say, sometimes you have no choice. You work in a company, you work in a factory, you work in a corporate organization where there's a lot of bickering, a lot of backstabbing, a lot of pressure, of course your life is going to be like that. Because this is how you mix with the people like this. If you mix with people, like say for example, you mix with people, a group of friends. And then this group of friends like to go tour here, tour there, tour everywhere. Every year, every 6 months, want to tour one place. Then if you keep on going tour with them, then your heart also you want to keep on traveling, you want to keep on doing all these type of things, isn't it? So too, if you have a group of people want to makan one, like a peta like that, then you set up a WhatsApp group. Okay, today send towards the whole group, and then okay, today we're going to go here for makan. Then after that, makan finish already, then you make a next appointment where to go. Sometimes you go outstation to makan, just to cari makan only. Literally speaking, Yeah. If you go and mix with these type of people just to eat and eat and eat and eat and eat, what do you think you're going to have? Peacefulness of mind. You see, how you live your life is how your whole mind become not peaceful. You want to have so many things in life. You want to have merriment. You have the enjoyment. You want to have a lot of sitting down together, be merry lah. Coming Chinese New Year must all gather together and then hoo ha, and then that's your life. And then after that, you want to go back retreat again. You think your mind will quiet down suddenly? So it all depends on what you mix, who you mix with your life. And this is not what I've said, This is mentioned by the Buddha himself. You see, if you mix with the restless people, you can end up with restlessness. If you mix with a lot of people with greed, you could end up with that. If you mix with a lot of people with anger, you're going to end up with that. And it's going to be part of you. You're going to end up with lazy people, you will be like that. Yeah? It's about who you mix with. It's the first thing. Kalyana mita or papa mita. Unwholesome friendship and spiritual friendship. So who do you want to mix with? Which group are you going to look for? So in your life, you want to have peacefulness and calmness. Then you got to look for places to have that, or people who talk about this type of peacefulness, calmness in their everyday life. Or they kind of value this peacefulness, this calmness. So this is the first thing, and this is one of the most important things sometimes we overlook. We thought that we have the Dhamma, Dhamma protect us. Oh my God, Dhamma already, don't worry already. Oh, like that. You thought everything, you think this is your tangkai, Dhamma. You got to use your wisdom a bit. You got to exercise your wisdom a little bit. Then who you mix with, this is the first thing. You got to do this one. And then when you mix with the right people, they will converse the right thing. If you mix people with a lot of dana, let's say, you like dana, they'll talk about dana. Okay, I'm going dana here, I'm going dana there, I'm going dana here, going dana there. If you mix with people who have interest in meditation, then they'll talk about, this meditation center, that meditation center, this meditation center got this they don't have, like that. Then they will talk about the teachers also. This one good, this one no good, this one very pricey one. Don't go. Then they'll talk at least they talk within the group, within the whole structure about what to do, because the interest is there. If you don't have this group of people, then again, it will not stir up that interest. So when you have that interest, you incline to it, then you bring about that you bring about that development of peace and calmness. So to like all of you somehow or another you mix with somebody in the past, or you read something, then you come to meditation and you feel good, and then you mix with this type of people. Although, of course, everybody got his rough edges here and there, but generally we have a direction that we want to bring the peace and to our everyday life. So it's good in that way. So people you mix with is one thing. So what we do after we have all these type of things, we mix with the right people and so on, then it's good that in day to day we learn to practice. And we learn to practice, to cultivate dana, sila, samadhi, or dana, sila, bhavana, or sila, samadhi, panya. Whichever you want to look into, it doesn't matter. What matters is that you put yourself into practice. So you do a bit of generosity, be kindness and so on, to let your mind incline to that thing, to that way of life. Then here you give up on the unwholesomeness. You learn about your 10 unwholesome actions. You learn about the 10 wholesome actions. Those things you apply into your everyday life, which is very good. You begin to apply that into your everyday life. Here, when you do that, you begin to reduce a lot of your art, all your nonsense from outside world. So when you begin to reduce that, then it brings certain degree of peace to your life, but not enough yet. Not enough yet. So what do you do else? What else do you do? So you go into practice a little bit. You take up some meditation objects. They guided you to like doing vipassana. Then here you try to develop it every day. Even right now out there, as I said in the talk, one of the talks on mindfulness is that when people out there, they're just doing this mindfulness alone. Not vipassana, but just mindfulness. Just be aware. Not for enlightenment, not for enlightenment, not for anything, just be aware only. When they do that, they also feel certain degree of calmness. It changed their life also. And they maintain it like 20 minutes a day, half an hour a day. If you can able to do that, also it brings peace into your life, in everyday life. At least the mind knows how to come back to the presentness of the body, or the presentness of here and now. If you can able to do that. Or if you cannot do that, then bring a bit of metta into your practice. Or metta, or mudita, or karuna, or meditation of death, and so on. So sometimes it is good that when you practice per day, sometimes you can always interchange. You don't need to practice all the time vipassana. If sometimes you practice vipassana, it doesn't feel anything clear, then you switch for a while to metta, for example. You switch metta for a week or two. Then you develop that metta for 15, 20 minutes or half an hour you want. Just develop one metta. Then you develop 2 weeks already. You come on, you feel good already, Then you think that you want to go back to Vipassana again. And then go back to Vipassana again. And you develop some rising, falling, watch the rising and falling. After a number of time, you feel you want to develop some mindfulness of death. And then when you mindfulness of death, then you reflect on the mindfulness of death. So when there's a variety of development, then with this type of variety, you feel that it's much more easier for you to cope with the everyday life. It's easier for you to cope with everyday life. So this is one thing. So sometimes you want to do walking, sometimes you want to do sitting. Well and good. It doesn't have to be all the time walking or all the time sitting. You can always vary. And also your daily life. Your daily life, if you begin to avoid all these things and work, sometimes of course you cannot able to avoid that because you need the money at the end of the day. Then every now and then we bring back the mindfulness while we are doing our work. Bring back the mindfulness, bring back the mindfulness, bring back the awareness. Just even for 15 seconds or 10 seconds. If while you are typing on your computer, you get stressed, just close the eyes for a while. In breath, out breath. In breath, out breath. Rising, falling, or just sitting here, just feel the whole body right now. Just for 15 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds. You don't want to close your eyes also, it's okay. Just feel the whole body. Then after that, I do again. After for a short while, you relax again. When you're able to do that, the mind much more less stress. Less stress. I cannot promise you it's going to be totally peaceful. You cannot because you are not in meditation. But at least less stress. Many things we can talk about it. Perhaps tomorrow, towards the closing, I'll talk about this a little bit more. When we talk about it, see what we can able to come up with it, of it. So we stop here for tonight. Okay.